even though I might know why this particular thing speaks to me, it still does. And it still captivates me in the same way it always has. I think it's pretty unusual for people to be asking the question, how can I make sure I live my life so that I'm always living with a bird of prey? But that is what I needed to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to think about it. You analyze yourself over time, and I know that when you get your master's, that was probably part of it. Welcome back, everyone, to Bucks Co Living. I interview a lot of people. I interview a lot of businesses, small stories, and small businesses around the area. But today, I have one very unique person, Courtney Douds, master falconer, therapist, and has talked a unique way of helping kids and adults through one bird at a time. With this conversation, we want to talk a little bit about her birds, her story, her therapy, and a little bit about how Bucks County and what it means to her. Courtney, thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me.
Courtney, we were talking offline real quick, but who becomes a falconer? How did you discovered falconry at 13? You were watching the Royal Tenenbaums, and what clicked for you?
Oh man, for me, it was a combination of several things. I was on the cusp of like some pretty big changes in my life at 13. So hitting puberty, getting really excited about different things, and something about seeing the relationship between the character, Luke Wilson's character, and his bird Mordecai, a falcon, and that just clicked. I'd seen falconry before, but it wasn't until that movie where I was like, okay, I need to learn every single thing about this and figure out how I can do it myself. So something about that timing just, spoke to me and sparked a lifelong obsession.
That's awesome. Were you always an outdoors kid? Or
Yes and no. I don't come from like a family of naturalists or outdoors people. I made my dad learn how to fish when I was in grade school because I saw folks fishing at the retainage pond at the end of my block. And I was like, I want to do that. And he was like, well, I got to figure out how to do that so I can teach you. So that it started with fishing, and then falconry was really where it bloomed for me. But I don't, no one taught me how to hunt or like, I don't come from a long line of falconers myself, but something about it really captivated me.
that's awesome. I always grew up in studying medieval times, and again, falconry was always something interesting, but I never thought it was a pursuit. But that was not your goal when going to college, correct? You went to Columbia University, which is impressive. Was that something? Yeah,
That's why I went for undergrad, and I went in having no idea what I was going to do with the rest of my life, as most people, I think. I majored in English and environmental biology, so I knew I loved poetry and I loved birds, and I didn't know where that would lead to after that point. But it was in college where I went out hunting with falconers for the first time, so I took the train to Long Island, went out with a father and son falconer, and as soon as I did that, I was like, okay, I have to make this a part of the rest of my life somehow. So I knew that much, but not much else.
did you tell your parents in college, like, hey, by the way, remember when I was 13 and I was so obsessed about this, and then I went to, this is something that I want to pursue while I'm here at Columbia University?
They knew that it was pretty intense for me at that point. So I volunteered at a wildlife rehab through high school. I kind of sat them down when I was 13, was like, look, mom and dad, piano and tennis are great, but falconry is really where it's at. So I couldn't really pursue it as a kid for a bunch of different reasons, but I volunteered at a wildlife rehab. I did a lot of educational programs with that organization. And then college, I sort of had the independence and time to be able to go pursue it in these different ways.
That's awesome. When I was in college, that's not what I was doing all my weekends. I wish I was, but you're following your dream. And again, like I said, not everyone knows what they're going to be in college. I read somewhere that you went to Mongolia as well?
Yeah, so that was kind of a dream since I was a kid to go see this really old tradition style of falconry. There's kind of two really ancient traditions of falconry, this golden eagle hunting, and then falconry with long wings with falcons in the Middle East. And for me, I love the called dirt hawking when you're catching stuff that's on the ground instead of a flight that's up in the air. And golden eagles are just the biggest and baddest, and I wanted to see that in action. So another woman falconer kind of hooked me up with her translator and guide who she'd gone to Mongolia on a Fulbright, Lauren McGow, if you know her. She's pretty famous in the eagle world. but she hooked me up with, the way to actually do this. And so for my 30th birthday, I finally went for 3 weeks and stayed with a couple different host families that had been falconers for, generations, that had a bunch of eagles. Got to see them hunt foxes and kind of small wildcats and ride horses and camels and have an
That's awesome.
amazing time.
Did you have a falcon on you while riding a camel? Because like I watched Lawrence of Arabia as a kid, and that like what I mean, that's like again, that's the coolest thing ever.
I think I'm not a very strong rider, so I did not
Okay.
hold an eagle on horse or camelback, but I did hold quite a few of the eagles, and I got to ride a few horses while I was there.
Oh my god. See, that's awesome. Yeah, you could like in The Mummy too. Like the what's his
I
name?
just rewatched that.
Did
Yeah.
you? Yeah, like he had it. He was on the horse, which is I forget the actor's name, but he's so impressive. We had an eagle, a bald eagle, touchdown in Yardley in my neighborhood the other day, which was really cool. And of course, everyone went to take pictures of it. And
Yeah.
by the time someone got it, it was gone. But I think it was hunting foxes because we have baby foxes in our area. Another thing that I grew up with, and which is the weirdest thing, in Bristol, we had peregrine falcons underneath our bridge, and my dad taught me about peregrine falcons and how crazy it is. Then they're basically a bullet, and
Yep.
it's a deadly weapon.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely. They're built for speed. Peregrines are the fastest animal. Top speed is 242 miles per hour, unless my data is like out of date at
no,
this
it's
point.
it's insane. This is so amazing. And you have two birds. You're training a third.
Yes.
So again, you've got Hecate and Medea, right? Or Medea first. So Medea is the red-tailed hawk, correct?
That's right. Yep.
And then Hecate is the screeching owl, the eastern
Yep.
screeching owl, which is so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I go down the deep dive of watching TikTok videos of owl pets, and like how they keep them as pets and all these little. But a screeching owl is a pretty impressive owl itself.
Yeah. So what I love about these two birds is that they're both native to Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
So when I bring them to events, whether it's a party or school or anything, you're learning about birds that live with us in Bucks County, all through Pennsylvania, all throughout the eastern half of the United States. But you might see a red tail almost every day if you're me and you're looking for them. But a screech owl, you're really, really, you're lucky to hear one, but you're much, much luckier to see one in the
Yeah.
winter. So it's much rarer. They're built for camouflage. Even though they're so abundant, they're all around us, it's really tough to see one.
Yeah. I mean, I again, like I said, I was watching YouTube about it too, and like how they move, how they again, I think everyone's seen the test where they measure the sound of an owl's flight path and how it's silent. It's so cool, and people don't understand how Again, I was trying to explain this to my boys, like, hey, this is pretty cool stuff right here, and it's right here. And it's something that I know that the boys wanted to come do, and a falcon. Is it something that I could do for birthday parties, or could I do this at an open house? Like,
Absolutely. I would love that.
we should do it.
The bird
Like,
could
come
be
to,
in your backyard.
yes, at an open house, you have
The smell of
hesitate.
cookies and dead rat.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be fun. I don't know if that would sell that much, but now you got your master's. Not only one master's, you got two masters from Wider, which is extremely impressive. You went to therapy and social work route. How did that come into play? Since you learned English and environmental biology, that's one aspect of your life. And then, did social work come into play throughout your life, or was this something that birthed later on?
So all of it's pretty tied together. So in high school, middle school, I had a lot of teachers that really loved Freud and Lacan. And
Okay.
I learned a lot about psychoanalysis, kind of unusually as an American student. And so psychoanalysis and falconry, of course, the two most popular interests of a 13-year-old girl, ended up structuring a lot of my life decisions from that point. And after undergrad, I wasn't sure what I would do. I figured I was going to go to grad school. I took some time off. Actually, I worked at a falconry school in Ireland for a year while I kind of figured myself out. And it turns out I'm not very good at hard science. So I was not going to be doing a PhD in bird research at Cornell. That was on the cards. But I knew I needed a job that would allow me the time and kind of income to pursue falconry. So I would already always been interested in clinical work. So I went back to school to be a therapist. So the idea was I'd get my LCSW, I'd start a private practice, and I'd stack my schedule so that I had a lot of time to go hunting.
That's awesome.
That's how it worked out. Yeah.
Now, do you psychoanalyze yourself that why you've got these degrees to hunt, which is, some people.
I did do a lot of work, unpacking that in my own analysis for sure. And, there's plenty of reasons for the timing and the choice and why. And fortunately, it's remained with me, all those years. Even though I might know why this particular thing speaks to me, it still does. And it still captivates me in the same way it always has. I think it's pretty unusual for people to be asking the question, how can I make sure I live my life so that I'm always living with a bird of prey? But that is what I needed to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to think about it. It's, you analyze yourself over time. And I know that when you get your master's, that was probably part of it. You have to deep dive into yourself and see where everything ticks. When did you know, again, this isn't a hobby. This falconry, this is a life's pursuit. Was there a specific moment when when analyzing yourself that you can look back and say, all right, this clicks for me?
Probably the first time I went out hunting with a falconer and I saw a red tail chase a rabbit and crash brush, and you hear the little scream and you run, you hear the bells, the birds on the ground mantling over its prey. I was like, oh my God, it's so cool. It's like living 5 feet away from your own nature documentary. And to me, the relationship between human and the hawk is so unique and interesting and just, yeah, so cool. So I would say that moment of hearing a hawk crash brush on a cottontail in Long Island when I was 19 or so.
Yeah.
Ranks pretty high up there. Yeah.
We're not going to psychoanalyze you liking to hear the scream of a cottontail.
Defenseless.
Yes. Now, you were talking about the symbiotic relationship with red tails and birds. You being a parent of two, was this something where it's definitely different because birds don't need you to be loved. They don't need the affection. They're not like other animals where my dogs are needy as hell, and that need to cuddle with me all darn day. But the birds are very self-sufficient, correct?
Yeah. And to me, that for them, it is a feature, not a bug. And to me, that's part of the attraction is that this bird, you have to serve a purpose for it. You need to make hunting, survival, living easier for it, or you're not building a relationship with the bird. And so one of the things that I think unites kind of all these fronts for me, parenting and falconry and therapy, is that it's my job to not take things personally. That's a difficult job in some moments. If a bird bites me or if my kid is screaming at me or if, a client's unhappy that their life hasn't turned around or whatever it is. But I know that my job is to stay the course and be steady and do what I think is ethical and right and helpful in all those scenarios in order to help those people and creatures.
It's hard to take it not personally with a 3-year-old. That's a tough one. I mean, again, I don't have a therapy background. I mean, obviously I went to therapy, but with 3-year-olds, that they go for the jugular. So, they could definitely hurt you. Do the birds have any type of temperament where they get sassy at all?
It depends. They all kind of have individual personalities. I would say Hecate, my eastern screech owl, she's maybe the sassiest. She's maybe the pickiest. She's a pandemic baby. She hatched in April 2020. So unfortunately, she was not socialized as well as I would have liked. So she has some strong preferences. Hates hats, hates glasses, especially hates big hair. So if my husband has curly hair, if he's wearing his hair down, it's all poofy. He takes it personally a little bit when she's mad at him. But just put your hair back and it'll be a bit nicer.
That's funny. When did you meet your husband?
When?
Yeah.
Let's see. 10 years ago, 2016.
Okay.
10 years next month.
Oh, congrats. Did you? So this is past Widener.
Yes.
All right.
Maybe a year or two into practice and kind of figuring my life out a little bit.
Yeah. So you went from Columbia to went from Long Island to Columbia to Widener, and then around here. What that's a big journey in itself. What brought you towards this area?
So I grew up in Buffalo, New York. And I had a great time growing up in Buffalo. I really liked it. I knew that I wanted to go to a really big city for college. So I was like only applying to Chicago and New York. And I think that might have been Boston, maybe end of list, but
No Philly. I see how it is. I see.
you didn't apply to any place in Philly. I don't know what the deal was.
It's not. No, I get it. New Yorkers feel that the city is the city. It's New York. I get it. I deal with it.
So,
Okay.
I got that out
understand.
of my system, thank goodness, because I loved being a broke student there, but I definitely am not. Also, falconry is illegal there, so I couldn't live there anymore past college. No hunting in the 5 boroughs, so that's a non-starter for the rest of my time. But I loved the Northeast, so I did a year in Ireland, worked there, and then I did a couple of years living with my dad in South Carolina, got my falconry license there, and then I applied to grad school to Widener, and then kind of fell in love with the area and knew I was going to stay since.
Nice. Now, again, you were talking about New York and falconry. Now, they have pigeons there. They do. That's a whole other world. How does that, again, and I actually ran into someone that raises pigeons around here. How does that differ? Like, I understand that pigeons are homing birds and stuff like that allowed in New York, and falconry isn't? Like,
So falconry is one of the most strictly regulated sports in the U.S. It's a form of hunting, so it's regulated by whatever state agency governs hunting. There's a very lengthy licensing process that has a lot of components to it. And so because it's a form of hunting and you can't hunt in New York City, there's no hunting in the 5 boroughs, so that automatically excludes falconry. So wild peregrines that live in New York and the red tails that live there, all the different raptors that live in New York and Philly can hunt all the things there. And there's so much food available for them with city living that they've adapted really well. Certain species have peregrines, jump off a skyscraper, smash a pigeon out of the air, you got your meal set. Or, a red tail camps out by a dumpster and eats 5 rats and is set for a couple days.
that's
So,
crazy.
yeah, they've learned really well how to adapt to city life.
Is there a hunting season at all for falconry in PA?
Yep, it's for falconers, I think it's October through March. And you've got some bag limits and that kind of stuff on top, but typically with a bird, you're not getting 7 squirrels in a day. So
That's funny. Do you have any? Does each bird have a record of how many they got in a day, or do you keep tally? Or
I usually would do what's called one and done. So if I got a squirrel or a rabbit, I'm good for the day. Some people will go for a second. Say they're out for 10 minutes, the bird grabbed a squirrel. They're like, I had 5 hours booked. So they'll keep going. But usually I was at spots where I didn't want to hunt too much or I didn't have a ton of time. So I was like, great, let's go home.
when you establish Raptor John at the perfect time, of course, perfect time in February of 2020.
Yeah,
You
great.
know, and then you got your first You got your first bird. You got Hecate in April.
Yeah, so Medea I actually got February 2020.
Oh, Medea first.
And then Hecate I got April here. Medea, though, she was a little bit older. Both of them were wild rescues, but Medea was about 1.5 years old, almost coming up on 2 years at that point. And so the red tails, they're diurnal. They have a totally different temperament than owls. So she was like, as soon as I started feeding her, she was my best friend. So I got to spend a lot of time with her during the pandemic, training her and feeding her and making sure she was a rock solid education bird. But with the owl not seeing too many people, she still has some preferences.
Now, how does your husband feel about these birds? And obviously, the hair has got
He is an outdoorsy person.
That's good.
He worked in Yellowstone a couple of seasons.
Oh, nice.
His family's out in Montana, and he comes from crabbers and hunters and fishers, so he was all about it. Not a hunter himself, kind of like a hunter-gatherer pair. He gardens. He's got a green thumb. So like my backyard is 90% bird and 10% garden, and so we each have kind of our different interests there. But I mean, he is super on board with all of it. There's no other way that I could do this. That's so
Hey.
really nice.
That's right. Have the birds met the children?
Absolutely. The new owl Medusa, the raging eagle owl, she was in the house for the first 2 months that I had her. So she was exposed to all sorts of sights and sounds and toddlers and tantrums and that sort of thing for her first 12 weeks until I put her out in the aviary. And The 3-year-old loves them, wants to play with them, and the 1-year-old, I think, wants to pluck all their feathers out. So we
Of course.
keep them separated as needed.
Nice. When working with therapy and doing social work, do you come across it where that you can meld the two at all? And like, do you, after, I mean, something about the environment and nature and all that, can you script that into your therapy as well?
I've had people, ask, like, am I going to combine the two kind of ideas? And I guess I see them as different different means to the same end. I don't see any one thing, therapy or falconry or art or whatever it is, as like the only curative thing, only thing that helps people. But philosophically, I see them as united as this way to like foster connection, like pursue your passion and help you figure out what you want. Just really, really different methods. So typically I'm not crossing the two other than the aforementioned, trying not to take stuff personally. but um, but I think there is a lot of overlap between them.
Nice. Yeah, people can understand like this was something that was born out of a 13-year-old girl's, heart, and that you've taken it all the way. But you've also survived the pandemic. You get shut, which is tough. I mean, not many people were scheduling falconry exhibits or birthday parties or weddings or something like that. I mean, I wish I could have had a falcon at my wedding. That would have been pretty cool. What kept you going through all this?
Honestly, to me, there's no option not to. I must live with a bird of prey in order to be happy. I'm not going to give that up. So I got to find a way to make it work. And for me, there's no point in having these birds unless they have a purpose. And to me, those purposes, the only purposes that I really want are either to hunt with or to do education and share them with other people. And so I did the hunting for about 10 years. And then when I started to have kids, transitioned into fully education. So that's how that kind of worked for me to keep this a part of my life through all the other changes that happened.
Did you, and again, we're going back to analyzation, and do you think Freud felt some sort of way that you need to have a bird of prey, like, like with you at all times?
Definitely.
And that, and then you've dulled it down, not really dulled it down, but to education. And, I don't want to psychoanalyze. Again, I'm no expert, but it's definitely an evolution, not only as a falconer, but as a person that going from hunter-gathering, and again, like all humans were hunter-gatherers, to someone that you're teaching on.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I get the best of all worlds, right? I get this like primal relationship. I get to be a mom. I get to share this with other people. I get to get paid. It's wild. I like beyond my wildest dreams that this has been such a success. It's very cool.
That's awesome. Have you, and again, this image caught in my head, have you been feeding one of the kids and feeding one of the birds? And like, how as parents, you do a million things. You got the bottle in one hand, and do you have a dead rat in the other hand, or like what's going on? Like,
that must have happened at some point. I'm like so far past the baby wearing days, and I feel like I've forgotten so much of both fourth trimesters that I couldn't tell you what I did any day of the week. But I'm sure I was either like chopping up a rat or throwing it to a bird while wearing a baby at some point in the last.
Oh my God.
year.
Yeah, I mean, the sleep deprivation alone is gotta be, it's gotta be a lot. How long do the birds sleep?
They sleep. So the hawk will sleep overnight pretty consistently. As soon as the light goes down, she's kind of roosting. The owls kind of come to life at dusk and are more active overnight, but they're never sleeping continuously through the day like like we do at night. They're on alert. The Eurasian eagle owl is a little bit more active during the day as a species than other birds. The screech owl, as soon as the sun sets, she's flapping around her area. She's flying around and calling and doing much more active during the day.
Do you let Hecate hunt at night at all, or?
Before kids, I did.
Yeah.
There's too much stuff to keep track of, and I don't want to open the door and forget that she's in the house and, injure her or cause anything to happen to her. So since having kids, she's in her ABA full time, and then she gets out for like more controlled kind of enrichment times, but not just, we would just let her, the downstairs of my house was bird proofed so that the windows had kind of stickers on them so she wouldn't fly into them. Anything that she could have fallen behind was covered up. So there's some remnants of that in my house where it's like, why do you have a random perch on the wall and why are there all these stickers on your window? That's bird safety stuff from another life.
What's harder, to bird-proof your house or baby-proof your house? Or did
Baby proof.
baby-proof? Yeah.
Because that evolves every couple
Yeah.
months. At least with the owl, kind of one and done, and realized all the risks and took care of them. Then it's like, oh, great. Now you can stand. Now you can pull that down, hurt yourself, or now you're grabbing for that, or that spot's no longer safe. So that's a constant battle that I assume never ends.
It's funny. Did people, did family, was everyone supportive of your path, or was there people that were questioning, like, what the hell are you doing? Being, a falconer, like, what was that like?
I think it was a bit of both. That's like, what are you doing? This is really cool. Okay, we'll see how it goes. I thought at the start that falconry would be my career from the beginning, and it quickly became clear that I needed it as a hobby in order to keep my passion for it for some amount of time. And so I really got to have that decade long of doing exactly what I wanted with falconry, is hunting and trapping my own bird and hunting squirrels and rabbits and doing that and as much as I wanted. And then it felt kind of right to transition into education the time that I did. It was a way to hold on to this part of myself and do something that I really enjoyed and get more birds. So win-win.
We'll get back to the podcast in just a second, but I just want to tell you about what I do. I've been a licensed realtor in Bucks County for the past 20 years. I serve Bucks County, Montgomery County, Philadelphia, New Jersey, all over the place. And I also have helped out hundreds of families buy, sell, and invest in real estate. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, don't hesitate to call me. Reach out, DM me, whatever you need to do, and let's start working together. All right, now we'll be back to the podcast. You're juggling two whole businesses. You have your private practice, and you have Raptor Johns, and you have, being a mother. At what point do you feel like this is too much? Is it ever that way, or is it just?
Probably it feels that way like Wednesday through Saturday, and then it feels really good Sunday through Thursday. I don't know. It's kind of like every day there's peaks and valleys of like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. And then we had this weekend where the air quality had both my outdoor birds inside for their respiratory safety.
Yeah.
My kids inside. 2 days of doing nothing indoors. Like, I'm losing my mind. This is not who I am. This is not how I can live. So, you learn as you go. And I don't think I'm at the point of too much because next month I'm getting a falcon and a dog. So
You get a falcon and a dog at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not exactly the same type, but a 2-week.
So what kind of dogs?
So our sweet little Chihuahua Beagle Rat Terrier passed away in March.
Oh, I'm
It was
sorry.
my first dog. Thanks. And so we're converts to little dogs with big ears. So we're getting a little Chihuahua Terrier mix.
Okay.
Yeah. So something really similar, something a little bit younger, more playful. Hopefully won't resent my kids as much as sweet little Dot did. But yeah, we'll see how she blends in with the family.
Do you like vicious little animals? Is that what it is? Like, dude, like Chihuahuas. I mean, like I've been bit by more Chihuahuas than my big dogs. Like,
I believe that. Yeah.
And again, I know every dog, it's about the owner. And same thing, I guess, with birds too. It's about the owner and how if they're abused or not. And you've rescued too, right? Is this new one going to be a rescue as well, or?
She's a rescue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the first dog, she's the first dog I had in my life, but she came from my falconry mentor in
Okay.
South Carolina. He's on a big piece of land and he gets lots of little runaways or dumps, coming to his porch. And at the time when I was ready to get a dog, he texted me a picture. Here's your little lap
One
companion,
second.
come down and get her. So the two new birds are both captive bred, a non-native species, are regulated in a really different way than wild take or native species are. So essentially with these birds, I'll be able to let any member of the public hold them, I'll be able to fly them to people, and I'll be able to train them from the jump how I want to, barring another pandemic. So
Yeah, knock on wood.
So that's the goal with these new birds, is to be able to train them in the way that I would like from the start, and to be able to offer a wider variety of services and kind of experiences with them. So really exciting.
That's
time of
awesome.
transition and expansion. Yeah.
I got to have a bird land on me when I was a little kid at Sesame Place, and that was the coolest thing ever. And you had to hold up again. Everyone does
Get
the
the
field
big
trip.
glove and everything.
Yeah, no, I didn't get a glove. They said that you hold up a piece of fish, or I don't know what it was. I was 5, but like it was so cool, and like the handler was right there. Is that something that you can do for parties? Is that something like, or are you gonna figure like teaching a class out this way, or what would you do?
Right now, kind of all of those are options, and we'll see how these birds train up. Part of it depends on their timeline of what are they ready for when, and what kind of space is available. So certainly, I'm excited to let kids hold and feed the falcon. Once he is trained up and ready for all that. I'm excited to do lure flying demos with him once he's ready. That's going to take both of us a little bit longer to get to, so don't be thinking October or anything too soon. But there's all these different things that I'm excited to train the birds for, to be able to offer. Yeah, and kind of sky's the limit, pun intended.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
it's great. You could use that one. You know, it's not that one of those cheesies like hang in there. You could definitely use sky's the limit. You've evolved from loving falconry to becoming a master falconer, and then also with the therapy. What is something that you've learned working with people and with animals throughout this journey?
Just like a love and appreciation difference and unpredictability, even where you think you're going to get the same thing over and over again, or you're hoping to get the same thing over and over again. Just, yeah, that there's always room for surprises. And I think that's what makes both of these jobs so exciting and interesting to me. It's never the same experience twice. And it's always something new, even if it feels like something old again. I am still excited every single time I see a red tail on a telephone. Oh my God, there it is.
Honey, stop the car.
Please.
Yeah, that's awesome. But you got to come in, if you go to Radcliffe Street in Bristol underneath the Turnpike Bridge. There's a ton of peregrine falcons there.
So cool.
You'll see people set up shop, and they'll spend all day.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and it's funny because it's a way to connect with nature in this concrete jungle that the part of it. But the one thing about Bucks County is there's so many different levels where again you have a very suburban area of like Lower Bucks, but then Upper Bucks has a lot more greenery, a lot more space, a lot more farmland. What is something that you feel that people need to know about connecting more with nature? Like, I mean, again, obviously you love nature. Obviously, no one goes to Mongolia to,
In December.
in December. Oh my God. How cold was that? First off, that was that. I mean,
-11.
oh, that's insane. I mean, you must love nature. You must love falconry to go. Yeah, but you grew up in Buffalo. So, I mean,
Yeah.
let's like,
Yeah.
let's be serious. Like, you're kind of used to that part. But what is it that you want to need people to understand and like connect with nature about, in this day and age?
Yeah, that it is all around you if you start looking for it. Whether you're into bugs or birds, they're all around you. So it's in your backyard, it's in the town over, it's in your neighborhood park. If you just go with binoculars or even just start flipping over rocks, I would say those were two of my favorite activities as a kid. And for raptors, I mean, even something as charismatic and kind of large and impressive seeming as them, they're also everywhere, from the suburbs to cities to farmland. And also, I wanted to add that I've probably driven almost every single road in all of the counties of Southeast Pennsylvania looking for a red tail to trap.
Really?
Yeah, when I would be trapping a red tail for my hunting season, basically I just put kind of a pin in a more rural area, places with slower roads, and drive along with my binoculars and my trap and my little live mouse as bait, and be waiting to find a juvenile red tail that I could throw the trap for. So I probably over time have spent about 2 full weeks on the road looking for red-tailed hawks all throughout Southeast Pennsylvania.
That's
Definitely
awesome.
a lot around Doylestown and kind of like the farmland on the outskirts there. Those are good spots to drop a pin on Google Maps and just drive.
That's funny. Imagine if like, driving past you and like, what is she doing out there? Oh, she's trapping a red-tailed hawk. That's
You could be right. Yeah.
awesome. You talked about the connection with wildlife and stuff like that. Yeah, first off, I also thought you are going to be the coolest mom when it comes to career day for your kids.
Let's hope. I
You
mean,
know,
let's hope not. I want to hear what's cooler than this. So,
I mean, come on now. You know, my kids are like, well, if my dad sells real estate, no one gives a crap about that. But like, you're going to bring in your red-tailed hawk or your owls. That's going to be huge. So that's something to look forward to. Do you want your children to pursue this, or do you want this? You know,
oh man,
I know it's so young.
Falconer, I know enough to not have expectations of like specific interests for sure. So I'll be excited about whatever they're excited about. It'll take a while if they're like into makeup and football, I'll have to learn a few more things, but I'll be there if that's what they're into.
You can do the
It
halftime
seems
show.
likely that music and nature will be
What does your husband
what they're
do?
exposed to. He's a musician and it does like audio recording too. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
So he knows about the technical difficulties that we've had. It's fun. It's great. So it's never a dull moment. I mean, you come with, again, you guys have this environmental nature and musical background. If your kids lean towards the corporate world, will you still try to make them hold on to the nature preserve, the wildlife conservation? Is that still going to be hitting home?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see, we'll see what's available for them when the time comes. Things feel so uncertain these days. Like
Sure.
who knows what life will be like in 16, 18, 20 years, but I'll be interested to see, whatever they pursue. And feel like for most people it's not a linear path.
Mhm.
You have to evolve as the time goes by.
Now, we were talking about the roads and is there any spots that you've thought, other than in Doylestown, like where the farms are, any spots that you stopped and you thought, wow, this is awesome for Bucks County wise?
I'm sure there's many, but
You're too focused on
honestly,
the hawk.
yeah, and usually I'm like, oh my God, am I in a place that's safe enough for me to pull over, where no one's going to be mad that I'm at, where this bird can actually see me? So that's usually about 20 things going on in my mind at the same time. But what's great is that every once in a while I'll be driving through a place and I'll be like, I remember I stopped for a bird here. It like comes back to me at the intersection or like at whatever landmark place I turned around at. So that's always fun.
That's awesome. You can annoy your kids. Like I do the same thing. Like, hey, Dad sold this house here. They don't give a crap. It's like, Mom, you tried to.
There was a bird there.
Yeah. Now, all right. So we're gonna do a little bit more rapid fire now. This is to put you on the hot seat.
All right.
Hawk or owl? Hawk, really? Why is that?
They're a little easier.
Yeah.
A little bit less, just because owls are nocturnal. Everyone loves owls and they're so beautiful and so cool. As a trainer and as someone with like a different relationship to them than just seeing them at an event, whew, man, they're a lot of work.
Yeah. So
for that reason alone.
Hawks are easier. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So here's another one for you. So hunting for capturing a bird, sunrise or sunset?
Oh, sunrise. Then I have the whole rest of the day to drive myself crazy.
What fuels you? Coffee or tea? So you studied again. You were in Ireland. You were in Mongolia. Again, this is where I'm coming. This is a good question. Come on, I thought about this. Like two different worlds.
I met my husband, just like the love of the game. I didn't drink coffee until I met him, and now it's coffee.
Really?
Yeah, I was just like, get up and go, like bird only. I was so motivated.
Laser focused. No one, I'm not gonna say eagle eye. It's too corny of a joke. And my boys will be like another dad joke. Here's another one. And again, we're talking about sunrise, sunset. But my thing is where October is a big time for you. But what's your favorite season?
Oh, also autumn, fall
Yeah.
is where it's at. I can't wait till it's the start of the hunting season. It's the days are cooling down. Like your bird doesn't hold on to weight in the same way. They're more motivated to hunt.
Oh, yeah, smart. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
The summer's hunting season's off. Falconers go nuts in the summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's some people will get a bird that they can hunt through the summer. Like if you have a kestrel and you can hunt sparrows and starlings, there's no season on that. But I would take time off, but I would get pretty itchy by the end of summer.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, again, you're not allowed to say go nuts. First off, I mean, so we gotta analyze. with
Climbing the wall.
yeah, climbing the walls. And what's your favorite season or what's your favorite type of season for, again, working with therapy? Like, is it working with kids outside and doing that, or is it more of just private? Because again, that goes through seasons in itself too.
Sure. Yeah. My therapy background is in psychoanalysis. And so there's it's different for everyone. There's like moments where you hear yourself in a new way, or you're like willing to try something different, even though you've been afraid to do it. Those are like the moments, and that happens any season. Though I would say typically people tend to feel a bit better in the spring for, you know, kind of the opposite of falconers. The winter is ending, getting longer days, more daylight, more warm. But for me, I like therapy year round, and those moments of breakthrough that are really exciting.
Yeah, you like the winter months because first off, you lived in Buffalo and you can survive Mongolia. And this is perfect hunting time. So everyone else is, again, crawling up the walls to get outside. So it's a little bit different.
This is the best time to be outside. You can see the squirrel footprints in the snow. There's bunnies around. This is where you want to be. Yeah.
That's funny. Are you gonna show your kids like this? Like, are you gonna be tracking little, animals? Like, here's a little bunnies right here. Like,
Absolutely.
that's
Be a
nice.
great dinner.
Have you served them rabbit yet? Have you?
I think we've given them rabbit. Yeah. Weeks certainly not off the menu, and I've eaten hawk caught rabbit and squirrel before, but usually when my birds would catch something, I would feed it to them over the next couple of days. But you got to try it at least once.
Oh my God, that's crazy. That's my roommate at college. He made a lot of different things because he was a hunter, and so like we've definitely tried stuff that he hunted, but it wasn't on my repertoire for cooking. But excuse me. What is one thing that when someone meets you that they'll learn about you and that they'll be surprised by it, but like what's something that they'll carry on, not just about the birds, but like about your life? All right, for last and final hard question.
It's pretty tough to separate the two. I would say that I really can't help but be genuine in all that I do, and I'm pretty honest. So careful asking a question because you'll get an honest response. So make sure you ask what you want to know with me, and I'm always happy to talk about therapy, about birds, about my life. Pretty much an open book, but I don't censor myself too much.
That's good. That's good. You let the birds do the talking for you too.
Exactly.
Why not? Now, how can people get in touch with you?
So I have a website, raptorjohns.com, where you can find information. It's not totally up to date at the moment because, like I said, we're going through so many changes with these new birds. You can also reach out by email, raptorjohns@gmail.com, and I am arguably getting better at social media. My Instagram also at Raptor Johns, so you can find videos of the new owl and bird as he arrives next month. Yeah, so those are the best kind of places to find me. Shoot me an email or contact me at the website or Instagram.
I love your Instagram. Now, I think, a little idea with the Instagram. I think you let the fans name the next bird, and the next Greek hero. That'd be cool.
I have been thinking that.
Yeah. Like next Greek hero. Me personally, I vote for Agamemnon, and this is and everything with the, but at the same time, it's such a long name that if
no, he sacrifices Iphigenia. I'm not letting him birth.
Exactly. But again, you want to teach it to the kids, like Aga, at birthday parties, like this is Agamemnon. Like, let's tell about him. Like, no, this is Hecate. Well, she did this. You know what I mean? Like, this is Medusa. But it's a lot of fun. And
I've thought that little poll of what should he be named.
I'll listen. I'm my vote. That's what you got. My vote right there.
All right.
I hope a lot of people vote. And follow you along. You also have Courtney Douds therapy.com, correct?
That's right. Yeah. If you're looking for a psychoanalyst or you need a referral for therapy, please get in touch. I work virtually 3 days a week and really enjoy what I do. You'll get a lot less bird talk there.
Yeah. Do you sprinkle it in? That'd be funny.
I really don't. And people find out, especially now, my patients are finding out that I have this other kind of ridiculous business that I do. So they've asked some questions about it. But for me, it's, it's their time, it's their life. And they might not care about birds at all. That's fine.
And they know that you stack the appointments heavy so that you can go hunt.
Now I don't. So hunting is finished now that I have toddlers.
Yes.
So education is where it's at, and that I can control the timing a lot better than hunting, which needed to be like 5 days a week for at least 3 hours of winter daylight. So
Oh my
that was
God.
pretty tricky to arrange.
Maybe when the kids get a little bit older, you bring them out, and then your daughter will be freezing like in like Christmas Vacation, like while you're trying to hunt. I really appreciate you coming on today, and I feel like more people need to know this, and more people need to schedule this, because again, the link to nature, the link to what's surrounding us in Bucks County and the surrounding areas, like who is living around us? It's not just people, it's the animals,
Yep.
and the wildlife, and preserving that and learning more about it. And I thank you so much for this. I hope more people get in touch. You follow her on Instagram. Go, like I said, raptorjohns.com, CourtneyDoudsTherapy.com. This is definitely something that I think that now that I understand a little bit more about you, they'll definitely pursue it. And then maybe at the next open house I have, we'll schedule it. Again, I'll bake some cookies.
Amazing.
You have the dead rats in the back. And, you could show how expansive the house is. Like, look, it's 3 acres of land, and then I can hunt here. And like,
Oh my gosh, dream house.
yeah, exactly. Well, listen, we'll make it happen. And thank you so much for coming on. Guys, if you like this episode, please consider liking and subscribing. You don't want to miss another episode of this. Courtney, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. All right.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. Courtney, thank you again. And join me next time on Bucks Co-Living. Thanks for joining the podcast today. If you want to hear more, click the link below and check out our other episodes. If you're looking to be on the podcast, feel free to reach out to me, DM me, whatever you need to do. I'd love to hear your voice. I'd love to share your stories. Have a good one.